Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video, we are going to be talking about Hunted. This is a Shudder original that came out last year, and if you didn't catch my previous video, I did a review of A Good Woman is Hard to Find, which was another Shudder original, and I mentioned in that video that they currently have a section titled Vengeance is Hers, which I think is perfect given the fact that it is Women in Horror Month. So of course I'm going to be reviewing and talking about films and topics regarding that for February. This one is basically like a modern day version of the Red Riding Hood story, which isn't necessarily an original idea when it comes to horror films. There are definitely a lot out there that reference that story. Of course, one of my favorites of all time, Trick or Treat, has an amazing Red Riding Hood twist in it. And I definitely went into this one a little bit hesitant because I felt like the summary plot reminded me a lot of Final Girl. If you have not seen that one, I have reviewed that one, and I do highly suggest it. Both of their plot summaries describe a woman or young girl being chased through the woods by men hunting her, but this one is actually quite different. In Final Girl, the men end up becoming more of the hunted. There's a bit of a twist in that, and in this one, it really is what the plot summary describes, which is a woman who is taken and then being chased through the woods by these two men, and that's basically what this film is this woman who gets taken by these two men and then chased throughout the woods and trying to escape them. There's no big secret reveal or really any like twists and turns within the story. You're really just following these characters as they go through all of this. So for the two men, you have the older one who's really the ringleader of this, the real psychotic one whose idea all of this is. And then you have his kind of a young apprentice who he's just basically forcing this into, and you kind of come to realize that he is not the first one, and neither is she, that this psychotic man has roped other young men into this. You don't really know what happened to them, you can kind of guess, as well as also having other victims, and I mean, you can kind of guess what happened to them as well. And it does a really good job of diving into that dynamic between those characters, which is something that happens in real life. I mean, you have psychotic pairs of people that can come together. And generally, if you've watched any true crime show, you know that one of them is always a bit more dominant than the other one. And that's what goes on in this film, and they really get into that. And especially the older gentleman's psyche, he is just a nutcase, and they really show that throughout this film. And they give this female character some backstory. You don't dive right into the action, you kind of get to know her a little bit, you know what she does for work and why she's where she is. And you know a little bit of what's going on in her life, which I liked. I liked kind of getting to know our protagonist before going into these things, which is what kind of makes it harder to watch, as, you know, you get to know this woman and then you have to watch her go through these horrific things, or even just the threat of some horrific things. I will say, trigger warning for sexual assault and attempted rape. There's no actual like rape scenes, which is good. I was kind of expecting maybe that would happen, so I was really glad that it didn't. But just FYI, there is several attempts at it throughout the film, but luckily never gets to that point. Now, one thing that I did really like within this film is the symbolism throughout it. There is a lot of symbolism throughout this film, not only just references to the Red Riding story. She's wearing a red jacket throughout the film. There is a particular scene, it's probably, I'd say, her like third interaction with these men in the film, and it's still pretty early on, where they are in what we call in America a convenience store. I don't know what y'all call it elsewhere. This film is in English, but I do believe it takes place in France. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But yeah, we call them convenience stores here in America, or gas stations, I guess, as well. And at one point she's in there, and the men enter as well. But there are a bunch of stuffed animals, and it zooms in on a bunch of wolf stuffed animals. So there's that type of symbolism. There's a little bit more in your face, and then there's just small stuff throughout the film, and especially with the way that the film ends. I don't want to give too many spoilers, of course, but just the ending scene takes place in a room, and there is a painting which is behind the woman as things are happening, and it's a painting of woods, and then there's some pillow carnage happens a little bit. Pillows get kind of fucked up, but it makes it look very snowy, which I thought was also really, really cool. And then there's a wolf dog there as well, which just stating that alone doesn't really make sense, but it does if you've seen the film, but I don't want to give all of that away. It does end with her having some paint on her face, which I view as like war paint, which is a term that has been used to like describe makeup and women using makeup as like our war paint, but in her case it really is. And I liked all of those symbolisms and those little things throughout the film. What I didn't like about it, not much. It was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. It did kind of start to drag on a little long, kind of towards the last scene or two. I was just like, okay, like, where are we going? Like, can I wrap this thing up? But like I said, I liked the ending scene a lot, and I think it definitely paid off. One other little tiny detail that bothered me, which has really absolutely nothing to do with being able to enjoy the film, but at one point there is a snake in the woods that startles our main bad guy, and they use a ball python for that scene, which doesn't make any sense. That would not be in the middle of the woods in like France. But that was just something that bothered me. I was like, it's a ball python. And it was like a small one. It wasn't even like a full grown one. It was just like a baby one that they got from like the store or something. But that was just a small detail that doesn't really matter to the film at all. Just mattered to me. But all in all, I really liked the film. I thought it was really good, and it was definitely like a strong female power feminist film for sure. So if you have seen this film, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. If you did enjoy this, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content. And before I go, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you know the perks to being a Patreon, links are in the description below, along with all of my other social media. And just in case you may or may not be interested, I've now added a Carnage Candy stickers as a official benefit to my Patreons. So if you're interested in getting yourself a sticker, you can do that by heading on over there. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again later with another video. Bye!